China today has one of the fastest growing economies in the world. But with 1.3 billion people, it also has the largest population on Earth. And hundreds of millions of Chinese live far from the coastal regions that are generating this new wealth. Hunger, sickness, ignorance, and an early death are too often the fate of those who are isolated and poor. The first of the Millennium Development Goals, to eradicate extreme hunger and poverty, is designed to address their needs.
改革开放初期的1978年，我们的贫困人口是2亿5千万人，现在下降的，目前的2900万人，贫困发生率由30.7%降到3%以下，这应该是个很了不起的成绩，不仅是中国历史上的一个壮举，对世界扶贫事业也是一个很大的贡献。
The Chinese government defines poverty as an individual having to survive on less than 66 US cents a day. For international comparison, the World Bank defines the absolute poverty line at $1 a day, which would mean that even more Chinese live in poverty. Regardless of which measure is used, China's recent progress is remarkable. This film looks at how China succeeded in freeing so many people from poverty, and how the lessons learned are helping poor communities throughout China. In 1978, China introduced a bold new policy. Known as Reform the Economy and Open to the Outside World, it began a process that has transformed China and the lives of ordinary Chinese. One of the first and most important changes to affect the rural poor was called the Household Responsibility System. This ended centralized agricultural planning and returned land used for communal farms back to individual families. This sweeping reform had the effect of freeing the productive capacity of hundreds of millions, and it became the single largest factor helping China's rural poor escape poverty. Nungcho Xiaozu, a part of Siya village in southwest Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region, is pretty far off the beaten track. Cut off from markets and technology, the people here had always lived below the international $1-a-day poverty line. But that's changing because of systematic poverty reduction efforts and their own hard work. At 88, Wei Yongxin is the oldest person in the village. Everyone in the village is named either Wei or Huang. They belong to the Zhuang minority, one of 56 different nationalities in China. Between 1995 and 2001, the Chinese government, with the support of the World Bank, directed an investment of $463.6 million toward 35 of the poorest counties in the unique karst mountains in Guangxi, Guizhou, and Yunnan provinces. The Southwest Poverty Reduction Project has introduced a broad range of interventions and supported community efforts that have helped Nungcho to develop and have shown the potential of comprehensive planned poverty reduction. For many, The project has literally lifted the darkness and brought them into the light. The introduction of electricity has meant mechanization and convenience, improved productivity, and greater income. But the best may be yet to come, as electricity allows for communications and computing technology to be introduced and assimilated. The villagers will be able to bridge the digital divide and connect with the wider world in ways they have never imagined. The project has brought new innovative water management systems, freeing the people from the daily grind of fetching water. For as long as anyone can remember, each family in Nungcho collected firewood and brush from the hillsides to cook with. But as the population increased, they had to go further and further to find fuel, stripping the vegetation from the hillsides with serious consequences for the water cycle and soil stability. To halt the ecological degradation, the project and the people have begun to build methane digesters that convert animal and human waste into gas for fuel.
我们现在新建这个小机器，小机器主要是为了保护绿色工程。建成那个小机器，我们是5个人的洗饭、洗晒，都不用晒饵了。为了保护这个绿色工程，建这个小机器。
The villagers are sparing 24 kilos of wood per day per household, or around 9,000 kilos per year per family. Scaling up policies like these have numerous advantages. Not only will they bring huge improvements to the lives of millions of Chinese farmers, but they also help to save the countryside from devastation and contribute to the slowing of climate change. The project's innovative policies, coupled with the freedoms made possible by the household responsibility system, have helped the farmers of Nungcho to boost their productivity substantially. Improved seed and animal stocks have also helped increase income. But productivity is just one part of the equation. The farmers of Nungcho must also get their produce to market. Situated deep in the mountains, this is not the easiest task. The nearest market town is Sanshi, 11 kilometers away. To link Nungcho with Sanshi, the project is building a road. Making it easier for people to get to town is stimulating the flow of products, information, and ideas. Major policies like reform the economy and open to the outside world and the household responsibility system have given China's rural farmers the freedom and incentive to improve their lot. Specific programs like the Southwest Poverty Reduction Project, designed to transfer technology, innovation, and ecological understanding, have given them the means to achieve this. China's farmers have done a lot, but there's still a long way to go. And where they're going is to work. Around 100 million Chinese from the countryside are now finding work in China's wealthier cities and sending the money back to their hometowns. Dagong, or labor mobility, has become a vital part of the Southwest Poverty Reduction Project. The trend reflects the realization that in order for the poorer regions to benefit from the economic boom, there must be flows of labor to the cities and capital to the rural areas. Government policies have been crucial in creating an institutional framework for poverty reduction. But equally important has been individual initiative and innovation.
社会各界的力量参与呢，就是我们组织动员社会各方面的力量，关心参与扶贫工作， 比如说我们组织东部地区的以发达的一些省份，给贫困地区进行挂钩扶贫。
One excellent example is Wenzhou, in China's coastal Zhejiang province, where 97% of the economy is privately held. Here, some leading enterprises and individuals are helping bridge the gap between agriculture and industry. Called lungtou or dragon heads, they are most often run by entrepreneurs with roots in China's peasant villages. They can qualify for special subsidies by meeting agreed targets for processing agricultural commodities, engaging rural labor in industry, and enlarging markets for rural produce. Su Zhongjie is a dragon head. Looking for a product that used the traditional skills of his home village, he remembered the woven grass mats which the farmers used for drying their grain and slept on hot, humid summer nights. By adapting these low-cost grass mats into beach accessories for the international resort set, Mr. Su has created a business with turnover last year of over $8 million.
这个质量来战胜市场，所以我们这个订单越做越大。对这个消费者对客人来说，对我们这个产品啊，对我们这个产品评价都很好，说我们这个产品做得很美观、很好、很可靠。
But the straw mat business is also contributing to structured poverty alleviation. The farmers produced the raw material during the winter in the same fields that grew rice in the more temperate seasons. And Mr. Su purchases partly fabricated products from small producers, linking thousands with international markets.
这个技术，我们这个村全部的种这个，全部一般人都可以种。对对，排挤成本，净收入。
150吗？还是1万多？
差不多3万，他说2个差不多3万是。
2万5差不多了。
This local mushroom cooperative has become a shareholding enterprise, partnered with the Zhejiang Foodstuff Import-Export Corporation. It is opening vast export markets for this simple commodity, and both raising and guaranteeing farmers' incomes.
很好，那个时间可能长一点。
Meifu roast duck of Wenzhou is famous. This business contracts farmers to supply ducks and other rural produce. By roasting, packaging, and marketing these, Meifu is directly and indirectly employing thousands of Chinese farmers and helping to raise the standards of production and distribution of rural products. Su Armiao's father sold sunflower seeds and peanuts on the street in a remote mountain town. With more education and a modern business plan, Mr. Su is the chief executive of Da Hao Da, distributing throughout China, with a turnover last year of more than $23 million.
我长大了想当人民教师。
想做什么？
当个医生。
Hundreds of millions more Chinese will make this mental leap soon. As part of a historic demographic shift, the majority of China's population will soon live in cities rather than on small family farms and rural villages. But China's population is so large that with no curbs on migration, its urban infrastructure could easily be overwhelmed. For farmers that want to migrate, the Chinese government has drawn up a systematic plan for voluntary resettlement. The next step for many of these would-be urbanites are development areas like this one, called Shanmen. The Shanmen development area is still a sleepy sort of town, halfway between the farm and factory, one of 590 similar sites around Wenzhou, which migrants can choose from. Called Come Down from the Mountain, the campaign allows those who can't survive on the marginal land in mountainous areas to move closer to an urban existence. And it's taking substantial pressure off fragile land better suited to forests than farming. But development areas like Shanmen are just the first step, because hundreds of millions are projected to come down from the mountain.
中国的扶贫呢，不是救济式的扶贫，不是说给你钱就什么，而是着重以来提高和增强贫困地区农民自我发展的能力，帮助他们改善最基本的生产和生活条件，让他们具有自我发展的能力。这样的话呢，他就能够永远的告别了贫困。
Cities like Wenzhou are magnets that attract millions of farmers. But not all of them can get residence permits. Modern urban life is tantalizing, but to many seems unreachable. The farmers' answer was to create Longgang, the first city built by and for farmers. Longgang developed from virtually zero to a population of 140,000 in just a few years. And here, farmers could easily get residence permits, jobs, and urban services. They've even got a website. And it's just the beginning. Hundreds of new cities are projected to be built in the next 20 years to absorb rural labor migration. Another major factor in China's sustained growth has been foreign direct investment, particularly in special economic zones. One of the areas with the fastest and most impressive growth is the ancient city of Suzhou. Foreign capital has consistently pumped billions of dollars into the economy here, enabling China's rapid movement from an agrarian to industrialized urban society. The level and quality of workmanship has rapidly reached international standards. Technology transfers like this and the income from export manufacture is fueling the growth of the eastern coastal areas. And the workers sending their paychecks home is helping develop the poorer regions. The development of a workforce with greater disposable income has also led to a burgeoning domestic market, one that potentially will be the largest in the world. But for millions of Chinese, participating in this market remains a distant dream.
贫困地区呢，是一些自然条件、生态条件最差的一些地区。用中国话来说，现在剩下的是最难啃的硬骨头。所以呢，他们呢自身的条件差，所以呢社会发展严重的滞后，所以要扶贫、要改变面貌相当难。
To tackle the really hard parts, China has decided to go west. China's Western development effort is a vast program designed to transfer technology and capital from the more developed regions to the interior. One area targeted is China's Lys Plateau. The Lys Plateau, an area the size of France, stretching over parts of 7 different provinces, was once a huge forest. Historic annals tell of rushing rivers and wild animals. Here in the Yellow River Basin is the cradle of Chinese civilization. Guohai Wang and his wife Zhou Sanlan grew up in Gungigai village in China's Mongolian Autonomous Region. He remembers very hard times.
过去全部我们这都是面沙了，就相当于我这住来这个地方也是全部是沙。从78年，以后起初是连温饱问题也解决不了，吃不饱穿不上，
Guo and millions like him are participating in a vast experiment. Loess is a powdery sedimentary soil, dangerously vulnerable to erosion. It's so fine that it is easily absorbed into water. Thousands of years of human impact and lack of conservation measures have removed the trees and grasses, with catastrophic results. Here, China has embarked on arguably the largest development project on Earth. The goal, to rehabilitate the ecosystem of the Loess Plateau. In Gungigai village, goats, and especially their valuable wool, are the main sources of income. But uncontrolled, goats and sheep are a major factor pushing the fragile land toward desertification. The Chinese government, with World Bank loans, has spent more than a decade and close to $500 million to begin the rehabilitation of 35,000 square kilometers along several tributary watersheds of the Yellow River. Terracing vast tracts of land considered wasteland for generations is opening up new opportunities for Chinese farmers. In addition, allowing farmers here to have the land use rights ensures they will maintain the terraces. Planting perennial crops like fruit trees and actively promoting grasses stops the constant uncovering of the fragile soil. Sustainable water management, as in this reservoir, stores water from seasonal rains, avoids depleting finite supplies like underground aquifers, and ensures that the water resources necessary will continue to be available as the land and the people develop. Keeping their goats in pens and feeding them with fodder stops the animals from eating the grasses down to the roots, protecting the fragile soil. These and other active measures, such as dune stabilization and the introduction of grasses and bushes bred to survive the harsh desert conditions, are healing the land in the areas served by the project and helping to raise the people from poverty.
以为是咱们一生中能住这么个砖房就算可以的了，结果没有想到在这10年的又一个变化，就像这种前10年盖起的房已经又不行了，赶不上现在的时代了。
Few people in the early days thought of the Loess Plateau as a land of opportunity, and it took a lot of courage to even begin to farm here. Qin Zhifu was an environmental refugee. His family came to Yaototsun in Shanxi 47 years ago, seeking higher ground as they fled the Yellow River's flooding. Ten years after the first warping dams and terraces were built, there is visible and measurable improvement. The warping dams have filled with silt and made flat fields in the ravines. New warping dams higher up have continued this until entire gullies have been covered. It has been proven again and again throughout history that human impact can destroy fragile ecosystems and especially disrupt the hydrological cycle. China's Lus Plateau project is providing valuable evidence that it may be possible to restore large-scale damaged ecosystems. For China, with 22% of the world's population and only 7% of the world's arable land, the implications for poverty reduction of providing more fertile land are enormous. Geographic barriers are coming down, but the Chinese people are going up as well as out. This is most evident in education. In Inner Mongolia, computer classes are opening the world to children in remote villages. In Guangxi, they're still hitting the books at 10 in the evening. And in Shanxi, the high school has proudly posted copies of the acceptance letters from universities to its last year's graduates. China has built a socialist market economy, which has been very successful in creating wealth. It has also created effective institutions for systematic poverty reduction.
中国政府在解决这个问题的时候，我们坚持采取发展第一、开发扶贫、政府主导、自力更生、社会参与的这么一个路子，这是一个符合中国特点的解决贫困问题的路子。
The challenge is now whether China can do something that many other countries have failed to do, and that is to bridge the growing gap between those who have benefited from its amazing economic growth and those that have not.
It's important for us to understand that poverty somewhere is really poverty everywhere, and that if you cannot deal with the question of poverty, then you will not have stability. And if you don't have stability, you will not have peace. So this whole issue of global unity is a question, in the end, of global equity and of global peace.
It will never be easy to ensure fairness in the global society, but there are billions of reasons why the world must get this right.